This video covers the typical workflow of going from a DXF file to a programmed laser cutter using RDWorks, which is the new software that replaces the old LaserCut 5.3. Troubleshooting, advanced techniques and further support can be found on our wiki, the RDWorks forum or on Slack. Starting from the laser cutter PC's desktop, double-click the RDWorks icon. The program will launch to a blank page representing the bed of the laser cutter. To import your DXF or SVG design, open the File menu, click Import, then navigate to where your file's stored, which is often the USB stick you've just stuck in the machine. Click Open. Like LaserCut, the design ought to just come in already joined path. If the DXF was created from CAD or Inkscape, it'll generally appear as just one layer, just black here. If the design was created in Illustrator with the lines different colours or on different layers, it might already be split across multiple layers as it's imported. The different layers are used to specify the cut order and cut parameters. In this example design, I want to engrave the ellipse and cut the rectangle. We can specify this by selecting and assigning the ellipse to a different layer. I'm going to put it on the blue one, and then changing the cut parameters for each of the layers as required. There's multiple ways to change the cut parameters in RDWorks. The one I typically do is just double click on the layer in the cut list table. The key cut parameters of interest are the cut power, the processing mode and the speed. The cut power, I'm going to specify 65 here, as that's the maximum practical laser power that avoids overheating the tube. We can ignore the second line in the table as that's only for multi-headed laser cutters. The processing mode selects whether to cut or scan. Cut is where you follow the lines, which can be used to outline a design or cut something out, and scan is where it rasters over an area, which is typically used when you want to engrave, although both cut and scan can be used to engrave or cut all the way through, depending on the power specified. Obviously, speed is the speed the laser cutter moves, and for cuts we want that to be relatively slow. For a cut operation, the other settings are not particularly critical. So that's it for the black outline. Now we're going to move on to the blue ellipse. Since I want this to be engraved, we need to specify a scan operation. We can set the speed higher and the power lower. The other settings that are relevant to engraving, but I'm not going to move them away from the defaults here, are the scan mode, which is which direction it's rastering, so here it's along the x-axis, and the interval or step over between the scans. So that's set the cut parameters, but the order of operation is wrong. We need the engraving to happen before the cut, otherwise our material, our job might have fallen through the knife bed before we get to the engraving step. So I'm going to change the order here by specifying a higher priority for the engrave operation. The last thing we need to think about is the origin or datum of the work. Typically we use the top right corner as the reference point, and here it's denoted by the green square you can see. With the position setting in the current position mode, that means the design will be cut with the green square being where the laser cutter origin has been set. The final step is to download the design to the laser cutter, give it a short name to identify it on that menu, and then off it goes.